Oh, I love that song. You know, I failed to tell you folks, and my brothers probably don't know this, but folks, you're witnessing Blood Brothers. They're the oldest quartet that's still singing after 50 years. Now, here's a brother that tried out but couldn't make it. And we call a practice at one place, and then we go to another. But you know what? He's written a book on teaching people how to laugh. And he is a great, great guy. If you ever want to get cheered up, all you have to do is call him. And I want you to help me welcome to Reynolds Auditorium my younger brother. His name is Wayne Hopper. How about a nice hand for Wayne?
Hey, Mama told me early. See, she ran the first group. She had some that could sing, some could carry a tune but couldn't harmonize, and some that could just make a joyful noise, and I was in the last category. And this was before the organized group, before Claude set out here. Mama had us singing in little churches, and she pulled me to the side. She was the Simon Cowell of the 40s. And she said to me, Wayne, some are waters and some are planters, and God gets the increase, but you ain't cutting it. Now, here's what you got. You got a prisoner's voice. And I said, a prisoner's voice? Mama, what in the world is a prisoner's voice? She said, that's a voice that's behind a few bars, always searching for a key. But I have a special bond with these guys. I grew up with them. I'm telling you, I slept with them. And we all slept in, well, we did. We slept in one bed. What I meant was, and I heard it this week, I almost ran off the road, Joy FM, they had the trivia of the week. Y'all probably heard it. It said, who had a bed that was 6 foot wide and 13 foot long? I like to run off the road. I said, that's Claude Hopper and his 7 brothers. So they gave me a hint. They said he was a biblical character. I said, well, you know, Claude's biblical. And they said, well, he was a king. And I thought, well, I was over yesterday at his castle. He's king of his castle, except when the queen arrives. But it's true. All 8 boys, or was it 7? There was always one missing. We had 7 brothers sleep in one bed, and it was about 6 foot wide. It was a mass of humanity. We slept 4 deep. If you had to get up in the middle of the night, you left a bookmark where your place was. And God forbid a kid wet the bed. They'd find him outside, sitting in a chair. We just didn't allow it. Well, anyway, so Mama called us out and got us going, and then Claude picked up. She was way ahead of her time. She was the Bill Gaither back then. She could get harmony together, but then Claude took it over and kind of blended it in. And these boys with their talent, I was just plumb proud of them. And we had this old hand-me-down suit. See, Mama dressed us up in a shirt and a bow tie and pants and took us to churches. That's where we first saw Connie, was at her church. But we never had a suit. We had a hand-me-down. It started one, he wore it out, and then he started to the next one. He come on down. Time it got down to me, I said, no way in the world am I wearing that suit. That thing's in tatters. It was a herringbone twill, 100% wool. I didn't know what my brothers had done in that suit. So I said, I'm getting my own suit. So I worked out on the farms. I saved my money. I went over to Dean's Village. It was a men's shop in Madison. I said, I'm going to get my own suit. I went in there. I said, Dean, I want my own suit. Throw in the shirt, throw in the tie and the belt, and I'm going to take it down to show it to my mama. She's down here at the drugstore, and I'm ready to buy. And Dean said, how much money we're talking about? And I said, I got $15. and his face kind of dropped, and he said, well, come on back here. I might be able to help you, Wayne. He took me way in the back. And there was this, I went by some beautiful suits. And there was this lone suit hanging on a rack that looked like it needed a friend. He said, put it on. I put it on, man. I'm standing in front of the mirror, and I'm saying, good gracious alive, this thing looks great, Dean. He said, yeah, it's a fine-looking suit. It's $14.95. It's all yours, Wayne. I said, yeah, but it looks like that the right sleeve there, Dean, is just a little bit long in the left. He said, what do you expect, Wayne? Kind of tuck it up and slap it against your hip bone. I said, yeah, that don't look bad, Dean. I said, well, what about that lapel there on the right? It's a little bit lower than the left. What do I do with that? He said, just kind of jerk it up and throw your chin on it. That looks pretty good, Dean. I said, but what about that pant leg down that's a little taller than the other? And he said, just jerk it up and clamp your knee on it. So I says, I'll take it. So I go out of the store, and I'm going down the street to show it to Mama. And two nice ladies passed by, and one of them said, isn't that pitiful? That man is so young and such a crippled fellow. And the other one said, yeah, but don't he have a nice suit on? Okay. We lived back in the sticks. It was so far back in there. We lived in a log cabin. We was raised in a log cabin. We so far back that we had to furnish our own tomcat. I mean, it was back in there, and my daddy and my mother, they put us through it. That's why it's such a special bond here. We're like war veterans, that they sit around and talk. Nobody can understand what they're talking about but them. When we get together and we start talking about the old times, we're the only ones that know what we're talking about. But it was rough. We had great family. We had wonderful extended families. We had an uncle that had 6 kids, and every one of them names started with an O. Some of them may be here tonight. We thought it was the coolest thing. We had old Randall and Otha Lewis, and had old McGray. Then we had old Tilly and old Billy and old Clemay. Now that was them O's. And we thought that was cool. We thought we had names. And Will over here, we came in here tonight. We had a makeup artist. Will usually made us up. He's a funeral director. And he got all kind of awards for making up dead people. You know, and so he used to make us up when we went on stage. And how you saw him on stage is exactly the way they look on the way out to the cemetery. Did a good job. Monroe's the patriarch. He's the oldest one. He went to the doctor here a few weeks ago, and the doctor gave him a clean bill of health, didn't he? Said you was fit as a fiddle. Old fiddle, but you was fit as a fiddle. The doctor says, I wouldn't be surprised, Monroe, if you didn't live to be 85, 90 years old. Monroe said, I'm 85 years old now. He said, see, what did I tell you? Well, my daddy was a frugal man, but he was a hard man, but he was a loving guy, and he believed in, he went through the Depression. He put us through it too. He locked the gates, closed up the farm. But I will say this, that I was an ugly kid, extremely ugly, and I could have sung with the boys if I hadn't had, they said I was so ugly that when I was a baby, that Mama used to take me out to the sandbox to play. The cat would cover me up. But hey, here's what I want to tell you. I got a little book. I'm selling it on the dirt, on the hoppers. I say that, it's an untruth. I do have a lot about the Hoppers in there. Some of it fact, some of it fiction. But we do it all in a funny way, and it's $5, and it'll be out next to Claude's thing where he sells all his stuff. I just try to pick up some crumbs. But his is, he's got a book that's Barnes & Noble, mine's Dollar General. I'm going to show you what it looks like. Looks like that. That's a picture of me a long time ago, and my son drew it. I couldn't afford a photographer. But before I go tonight, and we're running behind, and I know we're running behind. Anytime we're running behind, I'm always the guy. Because when I went into high school and I went out for football to impress the girls, the coach said, Hopper, what position can you play? And I said, I can play the end. And he said, why do you think that? And I said, well, they always put me on the end. And then they said the morning I was born, my folks looked at me and said, now, that's the end. After a couple of days, he called me over and said, Wayne, that end ain't working out too good. Said, can you pass the football? And I said, Coach, I don't even think I could swallow one. Thank you for your laughter.